Hey, what's up YouTube? Boanerges here with the very first Starcraft 2 broadcast in a very long time. I will touch on that in just a moment, though. Let's do a quick introduction of the players. In the bottom left spawning position, we have Boanerges. I'm just going to call him Boa, and there may or may be a Snakes on a Plane joke at some point in this cast. Over here, facing off in the bottom right position, we have EG.IdrA of Team Evil Geniuses. Now, this is supposedly the real EG.IdrA, although I think we should actually test. Let's restart the game here real quick. Let's look at the split and see if this could be him. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty darn good split. 3 ways. I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's him. Let's look at the APM also. So, yeah. The reason I'm kind of double-checking that is because I actually do get a good bit of EG.IdrA replays where it's like, hey, check it out, I'm facing off against EG.IdrA, but it's like EG.IdrA with 30 APM and all of the drones mining off of this one right off the bat. It's like, maybe it's not him. But that's okay. That's okay. I still love everybody who sends me the replays. So, Shakira's Plateau, this will be a good map, I think, for this matchup. I'm very much hoping to see some drops from the Terran player. Given the spawning positions, it would be very easy for him to abuse this ledge. Oh, I always squee with delight inside. Just because Zerg is like my enemy. I hate facing off against Zerg when I'm playing. But, you know, siege tanks down here and the roaches running around, the Zerglings, pretty much anything just squeeing for their dear life. Maybe we'll get to see that, maybe we won't, I don't know. Either way, Boa going into this game has a little bit of an advantage, just a tiny bit in terms of knowledge, simply because he knows EG.IdrA tends to have a rather passive playstyle, liking to go ahead and get, you know, 70 drones, depending on what he does, you know, 60, 70, 80, whatever, before he actually starts macroing up. But then once EG.IdrA gets into the zone, he's pretty much unstoppable. So Boa's going to be looking to try to exploit that. We see him opening up with 1 racks up here at the top of the ramp. We don't see any gas, so don't think we're going to see a Hellion opener, which, I mean, again, if you're going to be going for a gasless expand build, this is a good map for it. You know, you could throw down a couple barracks over here, a couple supply depots here and here, or, you know, however you want to mix it up, and you're pretty much good to go. So EG.IdrA's first expansion has gone down, and of course he is scouting out his opponent as we speak. Now, I'm going to be curious to see if Boa decides to drop his command center up here, or if he's like some other players and decides to drop it like up here or something like that. Of course, this drone comes up, spots, well, really not a lot. He doesn't get a good read because Boa was smart and blocked off the ramp, so he couldn't check if there's a gas or not. So going into this, you see that EG.IdrA is going to be dropping gas, getting the spawning pool in anticipation of possible Hellions, but, let's actually talk for just a minute or two about the upcoming StarCraft 2 cast, where I've been in general, and why I haven't uploaded in what feels like 3 or 4 years. For those of you who did not know, I recently finished up my college degree. Actually, about a week ago finished it up. So that was taking up a lot of my time. Knocking out the classes for that. Also, if you don't know, or if you don't follow my Facebook, you should, because if you did, you would know I'm now in Los Angeles living with Husky, Roe, and of course Dodger in the same house. Can you believe they packed so much of YouTube awesomeness into this one house? I was totally surprised, but you know what? It's amazing being here. I'm very much looking forward to just experiencing the whole LA thing. And hopefully we can continue to do some amazing stuff with this. Now, I have, let's see, what else have I been up to? For those of you that don't know, I'm going to actually, I have a, can't talk, Mass Effect series going on my second channel that I've kind of put off because, again, of my studies. But I'm going to be really kicking that into high gear, and I finally found a way, thank God, I found a way to record Command & Conquer 1 and Command & Conquer Red Alert with Fraps. So, monumental achievement there, mission accomplished. Really had to put my CS degree to work on that one. I was just joking. But, yeah, that's going to be coming down the line here in the next couple days as well. I have been live streaming that some, and that's actually turned out to be a really enjoyable thing to do. Those old Command & Conquer games are so freaking fun, man. I'll tell you what, those FMVs are like half the fun, too. I just love watching those. So, let's get back to the game now that the player's a little bit more established. We do see that a Roach Warren is going down. Let's take a look here. I think, let's see, I think we actually had a couple of Zerglings heading out a moment or two ago. So he spots that. Okay, yet Nurley doesn't know that command center's there, but I do believe here that we have the Roach Warren, which will actually be pretty interesting. I mean, again, I think this is pretty much just in anticipation of some early pressure. Given that there was that, you know, the denial of the scouting right there, he wants to get, you know, just a couple of Zerglings, which we see is now heading out, or, no, those are Marines. God, it's been so long since I've played this, forever. But no, he's got those couple of Zerglings coming out on the way right now. And we've also got some Roaches, which again, like I was going to say a minute ago before my mind totally wandered off there, anticipating the sort of early pressure down here. We could have a Hellion drop, we could have Hellions coming over here. We are a little bit past the point where they would have really started to go for that early push. But, you know, EG.IdrA could be just thinking of going for a bust here, as he's probably thinking the Terran does have some sort of expansion by now, since those Hellions are not out. Roaches really are a good mid-game unit for, you know, if you're really not too sure what your opponent's going to be getting, then when in doubt, just go ahead and throw down a couple of these. They're really, really good. I mean, they've got a lot of hit points, a lot of armor, and they, of course, can drive back a bunch of Marines, which we see right here. Boa not quite able to do the damage he was looking for, being forced back into his base, where we see there are several more Marines now waiting to join the fight. He's going to have to lift this up, or else EG.IdrA is going to be able to run in and continue chasing down these forces. He's going to do a lot of pressure, but ultimately EG.IdrA is not going to be able to break this line. I mean, again, there's just too much Marine production going on right now. I do like this. I do like this transition into, you know, just a whole bunch of Marines early on, because Boa had to play a little bit of catch up there. He really didn't have a lot in the way of tech. He had a whole bunch of minerals coming in from where he decided to go for that early expansion. That's about it. So when you got a whole bunch of minerals, and a whole bunch of barracks, you're pretty much good to go. And this poor Marine, this one barracks needs to be rallied just a little bit more over here to the left, but unfortunately, we don't have a way to go back in time and tell Boa that he needs to do that. That's all right, though. It's perfectly fine. We have EG.IdrA throwing down his geyser up here, and of course, the third expansion just was put up while he was pressuring with those Roaches. Very smart timing on that one. And of course, the Evo Chamber down to get Carapace level 1, which is coming from that one over there. Nothing here just yet. There's that Zergling attack. Shouldn't call it Zergling attack. It also applies to like 2 or 3 other units. But you know what? Zerglings are the iconic Zerg unit. So, speaking of Zerglings, actually, I've started working on another Eddie the Zergling, which that is something that is like so past long overdue that I feel terrible. But it's actually pretty funny so far. I'm not going to give away any spoilers. I know I've said I'm going to do one of those for ages now, but I promise it will come at some point here in the near future. The return of Eddie. So let's take a look at the worker count right now, 61 to 49, and if you notice, I'm a little slow with the UI here. I'm using a new mouse, pretty much new mouse, new keyboard, new desk, new chair, new everything. And it's a little wonky. I was telling somebody earlier that I feel like Shaquille O'Neal driving one of those old Power Wheel things. Those little kind of ATVs for 5-year-olds, which, you know, that's kind of a joke in and of itself. But, it's pretty much how I look right now, so we're going to try to get a real desk here in the coming days. As this one, I feel a little goofy. So Boa does have a couple Marauders. I mean, he did have to get that tech lab for STEM, for combat shields. The Marauders pretty much, you know, you see he's not really overcommitting on it. Just a couple, 4 or so, to do a little bit extra damage to those Roaches in case EG.IdrA decides to press again. But we see that he's kind of sticking with his more passive play, just droning up, getting his macro hatchery there. We can expect to see a whole bunch of more Zerglings here, possibly some Mutas. I think that'd be something that he could abuse, especially with the Terran army moving out like so. We take a look and see there isn't any anti-air. We do have a couple medevacs on the way. So, watching this, it looks like EG.IdrA is going to be facing some pressure here in just a moment at his third base. Will he be able to hold? Let's just take a look at the unit composition real quickly here. 11 Roaches, so many Zerglings right now coming in from all different directions. This army is now up against the wall. It'll be in this corner, you know, and I think if Boa can, he should probably lift these off and drop them up here or something, because, oh god, he did. Thank goodness. That was pretty much the only option that he had. It looks like instead of dropping them up here, he's just going to come up and send them somewhere. Where is he going to be going for a drop? I don't really know if that's going to work out too well, because again, EG.IdrA is kind of thinking, all right, well, probably going to be facing off against more pressure here at my third base, or at least checking to see if one's up here, which we see it going down. This is kind of EG.IdrA's little reward to himself right now, since he's done so much damage to the army. He knows he's in a pretty good position to go ahead and drop another expansion, and we do have another drop coming down here. Look at this, man, just getting a totally awesome read on this. I think EG.IdrA's line of thinking here was, you know what, my army is all the way across the side of the map right now. It'd be a really good time for the Terran player to go and drop. Sure enough, bam, just go ahead, send it down there. Of course, we do also have these overlords, which, again, keep an eye on the lower part of the map right there, allowing him to see when any drops are coming. So that's something that the Terran player really didn't quite plan for. When he sent that over there, sometimes players will just do a drop right here, allow the Marines to kill the Overlord, and then either go or fake him out and not go. But we see that Boa is really trying to just keep these forces split up, and I mean, really, that's a smart idea. We see that he's got so many Zerglings right now, though, and a creep spread that is almost connected to all 4 bases here, that really, I think that his reaction time is going to be pretty much spot on, as fast as you can possibly get it. So let's go back to the income tab and see 78, 81 to 68. Oh my word, it is a drone fest over here, as we have another drop, I believe, going on. I don't see anything, though. So maybe he is actually just, yeah, actually he's just going to fall back. Okay. I saw those forces, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know I haven't played Starcraft 2 for a while, but I really don't see a drop here in the mini-map. But my eyes are playing tricks on me. EG.IdrA coming over and spotting this third expansion, and sees, oh man, holy Muletown, this is a perfect opportunity to attack, although he's not getting his forces into the workers, so kind of surprised he didn't come over and try to sandwich them off there. Great fungals landing on top of the infantry, doing so much damage, keeping them in place while the siege tanks are getting established. Those Marines are going to be doing, or those siege tanks doing more damage to the workers and to the Marines than they do to the Zerglings, which are getting mopped up there. Oh man, there's a lot of potential energy knocked out by the Terran player. Very smart by Boa to keep that pressure on. We look at the unit composition now and see he has been severely diminished for his army, but I mean, again, so many Zerglings are on the way. And of course, the Greater Spire. This is a very smart tech switch, actually. So far, I mean, I think Boa is just kind of thinking, okay, we're pretty much just going to be facing off against standard Muta, Ling, and Fester. But so far, no Mutas, none at all. Just been saving up that gas, using it for Infestors, and then saving it up again. And we do have, of course, more Infestors on the way, which this army is looking pretty good now, man. I think he's going to be all right. Perfect fungal right there. EG.IdrA with the 10-point catch on that, losing the Infestor, but that's okay because more are on the way. Oh, that was just absolutely beautiful. So now Boa is going to have to fall back and try to get his economy going a little bit more. You see, he's dropping down this command center, very hidden. I like that a lot. But, you know, EG.IdrA does have a Zergling patrolling this area. And this expansion, you know, this is a pretty difficult one to take for a Terran player because there are so many ways for the Zerg to just run in and, you know, you can come in through here, here, and of course also here. It's just much more wide open than, say, taking something like this. Now, this is a little bit farther away than say, this one right here, but still, it, well, really comes down to being able to read what your opponent's doing and knowing where the best place to drop is. So EG.IdrA going ahead feeling pretty confident at this point. You know, he's done a lot of damage. We look at the resources lost, and we see that he's actually up just a little bit. But again, I mean, as has been said so many times before, that is not the ultimate telltale sign of victory or defeat. It is rather just kind of an interesting little side statistic there. Losing that gas almost so very close. Was able to hold on to that. Another expansion going down for EG.IdrA. I'll tell you what, man, he is just looking to take his half of the map. The only expansions that he does not have there that would be contested would be these two. So Terran, of course, looking to knock out the scouting information. Here, this one Zergling, oh man, he is going to run to his death. No, Zergling, no, Zerglings don't belong in a command center. Oh, that was so very close. Poor little guy. I think the snakes are going to come out and kill him, though, as these Marines are looking for vengeance against their fallen I don't know what's falling. Possibly just more snakes. Either way, we do have a lot of Vikings now. Very good call on this, and I think it's actually really good timing for that because, you know, we're about at the 20-minute mark where it's really not too uncommon to see Zerg transition into their kind of ultimate air unit, the Broodlord. Very, very devastating weapon at EG.IdrA's disposal here, which it looks like there's a very solid scan as he spots those Broodlords spot on. He's going to be very careful to make sure that he keeps those infestors near because he has to fungal those Vikings, which, bam, there we go. And oh wow, the Broodlord's actually moving back. EG.IdrA's choosing to pretty much sacrifice them. Very smart play there by Boa, dragging those Broodlords into his army and into the range of the Vikings, more importantly. Whoa, holy fungal Batman, that was a good one right there. So we look and see that more Corruptors are in the way. That's going to translate into more Broodlords. And of course, we can head over to the Units tab and see pretty much, you know, good amount of Zerglings right now. He's not really going to be able to use those at this point to attack the first, second, or third expansions. This one here is quite vulnerable, although it is a planetary fortress. So a quick response by Boa will allow him to repair that command center. Not only that, but block off a lot of the attack paths to the planetary fortress. That's one thing that some newer players I see they make a mistake of trying to just brute force down those that command center / planetary fortress, and a whole bunch of SCVs are repairing it, but the SCVs can't, or the Zerglings can't reach the command center because the SCVs are in the way. So just a little random bit of information for you super new players. Make sure you don't let your Zerglings do that. It's funny because I actually saw a Master Levels player do that about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I kind of laughed a little bit, but that's okay. I love everybody that plays Starcraft 2. Oh, look at this. Zerglings coming in, and it looks like this is not going to be a diversionary tactic. This is just straight on seeing what the Terran responds with, going for as many workers as possible. I mean, at this point, why not? You know, EG.IdrA has such an economic advantage. He can pretty much just throw away a whole bunch of Zerglings, get some more supply for the Broodlords, and that's going to be that. You know, if he needs to get a whole bunch more, he's going to be able to very quickly. With, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries, I believe. So, 8, actually. Zerglings coming in. This is actually just going to be to bypass this one, I think. He's not going to worry too much about this expansion right here. Although, apparently, these Zerglings are going to be left to run away on their own regard. They do have a death wish. As those Zerglings are trying to get the mule. It does live, however. Very good at this point, because we look at the command centers and we see he's really low on energy. So with Thor's on the way, this is a pretty interesting choice, I have to say. But, you know, we'll just have to we'll have to see how the fungals are played out. I think it actually would be pretty funny if we saw some mind control at some point in the game, but I don't think we're going to. We'll see what happens next here. This is a really great line here for Boa. We see he's got siege tanks nice and spread out. Ooh, very nice here on the high ground as well. Now this Thor, we do have 2 of them, so he's going to be looking to absorb a lot of the ling damage and hopefully get some shots off on these infestors as well, as they can knock those down right quick. Unfortunately, though, the Marines are not spread out nearly far enough, so the fungal is going to take them down very rapidly with not enough anti-air here. It looks like it's going to be making a very strong push, and again, he's got the money to back this up with another wave in just a moment or two if he wants to. He's got the upgrade for the Ultralists on the way. Oh man, I don't see those too often in the higher levels. I mean, at least in the replays that I'm able to get, but ooh, man, this is going to make for a very interesting game here with Banshees coming out. Now, the Banshees, you know, obviously the Corruptors can knock them out pretty easily, fungals as well, and these 2 Vikings just being put into overdrive, they have got to, they're going to run out of missiles at some point. I'm actually really glad they don't have that mechanic in this game, because that would be absolutely annoying. I've played that before in other RTSs, and oh my god. Let me just tell you, I played those RTSs for about 5 minutes, quit, haven't looked back. Oh, nice micro there by Boa, able to lift up that Thor, drop it again. That is the only StarCraft, you know, that StarCraft 2 Master thing. That's the only one I have not been able to beat yet. Is when you lift up the siege tank versus the 3 stalkers. So all the while that army was keeping busy down at the bottom, lost that 3rd expansion, and the Zerglings were able to bypass the defenses up here and knock out that 5th or the 4th one as well. Actually, I'd say that was the 5th one. But with that Zergling now keeping the command center from landing, that's going to put our Terran player in a very awkward position right now. 197 to 129. I mean, I feel like he's been behind for a little while here, but he certainly has done a good job working with what he has. Now the Banshee's able to do a lot of damage to these Ultras as there is no fungal on him. Oh, there we go. As the Vikings are still anticipating more Broodlords, but you know what? IdrA's like, you know, I got Ultras. I'll leave him as Corruptors. Knock out some of these Vikings as well. He's probably expecting the Terran player to really commit to a heavy anti-air again, which we see with 3 Thors now. He's going to be able to do a number to these Ultralisks. He's going to have to make sure this one does not run out front, though, because it only has 18 hit points. Oh, run, Siege Tank! Woo! Not quite far enough there, buddy. Should have parked a little bit down here. So more Zerglings on the way. This is pretty much just going to be IdrA wrapping it up here. Boa does not have a lot in the way of options left for dealing with this this engagement. The command center is going to try to land once again and denied. Poor guy. Poor guy. The Ultras now. I feel like IdrA could land a death blow here in just a minute or two. Yep, it's going with the Ultras to attack the planetary. And oh man, it has been so long since I have casted. My throat is actually starting to hurt. Wow, that is something that's not happened in a long time. But that's okay, because that is going to be rectified in the coming days, as I assume we're going to be wrapping this game up here pretty soon. I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know again to make sure you subscribe to my second channel. That's where the Command & Conquer playthrough series is going to start that up here in just a little bit. But do want to thank Boa for sending this replay in, and finally for a game that we can see where IdrA wins on a public ladder-style play. Always a refreshing thing. As Boa, I don't know, he's attacking the command center. I don't know, man. This is still looking... Maybe he's going to try again. It's hard to say. IdrA with the 88 Zerglings in production right now. We look at the income, just for funsies, 87 to 13. Here comes a whole bunch of investors just going directly underneath the army. Oh, man. One of these units is not like the others as the Marines run past it again. IdrA. Oh, man. Greg, what are you doing, bro? Come on. Well, I think that Boa is going to have to leave at some point here. As well, I mean, he could stay till the bitter end. I mean, honestly, let's be real here. If I were facing off against IdrA, I would probably be doing the same thing. Anything that I could do to buy myself a little bit extra time, the off chance that I could survive and score a victory, I would say definitely worth it. But right now, we see IdrA taking over this expansion right here. The building's now landing, maybe hoping to spend the last little bastion of money that he has. And what is he doing? Maybe he's gonna try for some siege tanks or another Thor. I think this isn't gonna work, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be totally calling it wrong. No. Okay, there's the GG. Okay. Well, good game, Boa. I have to thank you again for sending this replay. I'm just gonna pause this here. And, yeah, of course, make sure you guys, that's a lot of barracks, make sure you guys stay tuned. Again, I'm going to have more StarCraft 2 casts coming in the coming days as I knock my microphone. Poor little guy. I love you, buddy. Oh, you're so nice. Oh, it's purring. But, yes, again, Cliff's Notes. I'm in LA. Send me replays if you want to watch them. Command & Conquer playthrough on the second channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. I'm going to knock out Mass Effect 3 as well. And I'm going to try to set up a post office box if you guys want to send fan mail at some point. That'll be down the road. That's one of those like month 2, month 3 type things. All right. With that being said, if you don't want to send me replays, at least let me know some games that you want to watch, and I will hunt for them. I will see you in the next video.